We are talking about Sufi movement and now some of the Sufi sons. Now, Sufi sons were also more or less those type of the followers of the leaders who preached humanity. They were, of course, uh, studying Quran. They were connected to the religion called Islam, but at the same time, they were not only blindly following the things that are written in Quran. They have interpreted the or explained this religious book from the humanity viewpoint. Okay. And some of them are, means, there were two types of the people in both the religions called Hindu and Muslim. They were the orthodox traditional followers. Those orthodox is conservative, traditional, who were talking about only the hardline aspect of the religion, and they interpreted religion from their own angle, and they always wanted that whatever their viewpoint is, that should be followed. If anybody is violating, not following those viewpoints, they were being punished by keeping outside the society. They were being boycotted by the society. But these people adopted the moderate path, as we had studied in the case of Bhakti movement. Most of these Bhakti sons or the saints actually talked about what? Humanity aspect. Help the poor, help the needy. Charity must be somewhere from the bottom of your heart, not for the showing off, the displaying of. So, if you are in a position to help others, definitely help them. Even if you are not in a position to help, then try to, that there must be at least the thought of helping others. Plus, no need to renounce the world, because the renunciation of the world or the worldly pleasure was one of the very important aspects of the religious teachers in the past, that as long as you are attached to this worldly affairs, that is called Maya or illusion, then you cannot be purging your soul, can purifying your soul, and once it is not purified, not clean the heart, then your soul cannot be merging or reaching to that supreme soul or the supreme power called God. But yes, but then that is salvation or moksha. Okay. So but these bhakti leaders or the bhakti followers or the saints told the opposite. It's not necessary to renounce the world. Do whatever you are doing, do your duty, do your karma, and along with doing your duty, you can still practice or attain salvation or moksha. What you need to do is to clean your heart, do the things with responsibility, do the things with the selflessness, okay, love everybody, and these are the certain normal philosophies of all these bhakti leaders, and such hardline orthodox religious teachers in Islamic religion is also were known as ulemas. Okay, so they rejected who? These Sufi sons rejected the theory of ulemas and appealed to the people to practice humanity. And this humanity practicing is not boundaried by or confined by any religion only. Okay, it could be common in all the religious group, common among the people in each and every herd. And they have taught that these religions are like the different paths reaching to the same destination, and the target is to reach the aim, reach the destination. Not the target is never is to which path you are adopting. Okay, from where you are going is not that much important. Actually, where you are going, what is your destination, where you want to reach is more important. Okay. So this humanity aspect is a common aspect. Everybody follows that way. So that is why the followers of these Sufi saints were not only the Islamic followers, but they were also even the Hindu devotees, Hindu followers, or the followers of other religions also have a great deal of respect for these two Sufi sons, Nizamuddin Aulia, Baba Farid, Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti. These are some of the famous names of those Sufi sons, and a few lines dedicated to these people, Baba Farid, Khwaja Chishti, and Nizamuddin Aulia. So Baba Farid was of Punjab. He belonged to Punjab and was a follower or a student or a disciple of Moinuddin Chishti. He preached, you see once again, that true love, and what is true love is devoid of return. Okay, no expectation of any return. As the mother loved the child, in return the mother did not want anything. Whatever they have, they are trying to give every drop of it to their children, not with the intention of that your children will grow up and tomorrow when they earn they will return these back. Nothing as such. So that is a true love. Practice that true love with each and every human being, because each and every human being is a soul, and each and every soul on this earth is actually the branch of that supreme soul. So if you want to reach to that one, so your soul also wants to reach there in order to attain salvation. So is the other soul. Each and every soul, just identify this is the soul, part of the same supreme soul. Don't identify this is a person belonging to one caste, this is a person belonging to another religion. This is all stupid, false, meaningless thinking. Okay. So only one thing is that keep on doing your duty with selfless love. Attach, as I have told, live like everything is yours, and live as nothing was yours. Okay. So he preached true love for God and rebelled against the rebel means a violent protest sort of a thing, but they were not violent. So they had protested strongly. विरोध जिसको कहते हैं, विद्रोह, उनका विद्रोह था. So they had a protest against that orthodox thinking, who were telling you to visit temple or mosque, to do these such rituals, then only can you reach to the God, is absolutely meaningless. That is how they rejected those teachings or beliefs of ulema, that is religious teachers, orthodox religious teachers attached to the Islam is called ulemas. He composed many verses, as other bhakti sants we had seen. They had made their own songs. They had dipped those songs into the music, means composed the music and then singing. They were enjoying those songs as if this is not a song, this is in the praise of the God, and as such it is today established as prayers, and we are also praying them. So he composed many verses or many poems which were recited, that is singing out his recitation, okay, by Hindus and Muslims alike, and that is what the beauty of these people. They were not confined to any religion, okay, though they were belonging to one religious group, but never confined to one religion. So that is why their followers are also been belonging to other religions also. The same is true with Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti, very famous. He has his dargah at Ajmer Sharif in Rajasthan, where the people and annually there is a large gathering called the Urs, a sort of a fair is organized, that is called Urs, and everybody goes there to have something praying them. And among the followers reaching out there at Ajmer Sharif, at the dargah of Moinuddin Chishti, are Hindus also, not only Muslims. Again. So Moinuddin Chishti was one of the greatest Sufi sons. He was the founder of the Chishti order, that is Silsila. He came to India in 1192 and settled in Ajmer. He encouraged devotional music, means enjoy that one. That music is something pleasant to hear. Okay. So no need to go into the technicalities of the details of those mantras, which you are finding it very difficult to speak out, that is to recite first, not understanding the meaning of that one. Okay, so why are you unnecessarily wasting your time and energy reading out something which you are not understanding? Both the problems are there. First of all, you are finding it absolutely difficult to pronounce them properly and correctly. So reading out problem also. And second, so when you are been keep on doing the mistakes and error time and again, the result will also not favorable. So if it is said also, it is very natural saying, natural doing. If you are been doing the same thing, suppose you are making a formula, attempting a formula in a mathematics which is wrong, and time and again all the time that you are making is wrong, the end result will also be wrong, undesirable result. Okay. So the same is true with the chanting of the mantras. The impact of those mantras will be in your favor when you are been chanting them, reciting them in a proper way. Okay. But because you are finding it difficult to pronounce, then leave that one. Don't difficult to pronounce not only, but understanding is not the part of. You are not understanding. Most of us are actually, sometimes what happens that if you are good in reading out Sanskrit, you have read Sanskrit in your life, in your student life, then you may chant certain mantras, but exactly you don't know the meaning of those mantras. Yes, it is. But then most of the prayers that you are singing, you are able to, the moment you are singing, it means that you have remembered. Easily the morning prayers, even if you have not remembered, it is very easy for you to copy from the leading team. But imagine a situation that the leading team is very good in the recitation of those Sanskrit mantras, but could you be able to do that even after listening? No. So unable to pronounce, not enjoying, leave that one. Okay, and they had given something else. So as a result, everybody enjoyed this sort of a thing. So he encouraged bhakti music, that is devotional music, and qawwalis also. Okay, most of the qawwalis, actually the Sufi qawwalis or the Sufi is now today became actually one of the musical genre also. Okay, and qawwalis is most of the qawwalis, if you have heard any qawwali, you see they are all dedicated to the God and the Allahs and seeking their blessings and everything like that.
And in place of it's only Muslims.
A sort of, yes, you can say like that, and yes, sort of that. So his dargah at Ajmer is visited by hundreds of people every day. Now another one was Nizamuddin Auliya. He was actually living in Delhi and was the follower of Baba Farid and was a teacher of Amir Khusro, who came in the court of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, he was the court poet of Alauddin Khilji. He inspired people with the love of God. You see the common philosophy, underlying philosophy of all these, whether the Bhakti followers or the Sufi followers, is the love towards the God. And his dargah at Delhi attracts hundreds of visitors every day. So that is what was Sufi Silsila, what was Sufi's order. So Sufi sons were also known as what? Sufi sons are also known as what?
Peace.
Correct. And what is the word Sufi literally mean?
One with
Exactly. So you see, with the purity, these teachers are, when you are doing anything with that of a selflessness, not selfishness, selflessness, with the purity of heart and mind, with the intention of helping others and blessing others, the end result is very productive. Again, just opposite is also true. If you are doing everything or anything with the selfish intention, with the intention of damaging others, prospering and developing only yourself at the cost of others, neither you are happy nor your development is complete. Okay, so this is what the underlying philosophy of these all people. So the Sufis were organized into 12 orders or silsilas. Each orders or each silsila was identified by the main famous, that is prominent saint, who live in a place where these people were living, were called Khanka, along with his followers. As we have a Buddhist monasteries, you would have studied that, or a convent is a building dedicated to the followers of a particular religion, that is Christianity. So that is what the place or a building which is called convent, where the Christian followers, their teachers, have been living along with each other. So that is similarly. So जैसे मठ होता था हिंदी में, हम लोग के हिंदू के होता ना ये फलना मठ के शंकराचार्य ये सब, उसी तरह से इनके यहाँ पर खानकाज होता था, जहाँ पे इनके सूफी सन्स और उसके फॉलोअर्स रहते थे. Some of the important Sufi सिलसिला the Chishtis established by Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. जैसे आपके यहाँ कैसे था इनमें, या आपके यहाँ मीन्स इन द भक्ति वाला में, कि भाई ये नाइनार्स है, दैट इज हीज फॉलोवर्स, अलवर्स है, इनका ये अलग चला, सबका अपना अलग अलग चला, लेकिन कॉमन फिलॉसफी सबका मेन था. उसी तरह इनका अलग अलग सिलसिला था. एक था सुराहवर्दी, उसके बाद था फिरदौसी, और उसके था कलान दरिया. टू ऑफ दी, जिसमें चिश्ती और सुराहवर्दी, ये इंडिया में बहुत फेमस हुआ. पूरी दुनिया में, वेस्टर्न एशिया में तो बाकी सब था, लेकिन इंडिया में ये चिश्ती सिलसिला एंड सुराहवर्दी became very famous. So let us throw some light on these two. Chishti silsila, a prominent teacher and saint of Chishti silsila was Khwaja Muinuddin Chishti. His dargah at Ajmer is today a religious tourist center, that is called pilgrimage center. Religious tour for religious purpose is called pilgrimage, जिसको तीर्थ कहते हैं हम लोग. ठीक है. Visited by both Hindus and Muslims. Other famous Chishti saints were Sheikh Qutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki, Sheikh Farid or Baba Farid, Nasiruddin Chirag at Delhi, and perhaps the greatest Sufi saint ever was Hazrat Nizamuddin Auliya. They were all the followers of this Chishti silsila. He was popularly referred to as what? Mehboob-e-Ilahi, that is, Ilahi is the God for the Islamic followers. So, and Mehboob is that lover. So he was been particularly very much liked by the God. He was a great son of God, like that one. So he has been famous as who? Nizamuddin Auliya. And then by his followers. Apart from that one, there was another. His name was Banda Nawaz Jisudaraz of Gulbarga, that is in Jammu and Kashmir, was the most influential Sufi saint in, not actually in South India. Okay. Now Suravardi silsila. This is the another order of the Sufi saint. The founder of Suravardi silsila was Sheikh Bahauddin Zakaria. Other famous Suravardi saints were Shah Alam Bukhari and Sheikh Shahabuddin Suravardi. This silsila was popular in Sindh and northwest, means which areas of work are also been given, the regions of work are also been given. Now close this one and take out your note.